Hello there, and welcome back to Writing from Scratch with me, Tom. Today we're talking all about how to write your second chapter. So, despite the first chapter receiving a lot of attention in terms of its importance in videos and articles, many authors consider the second chapter just as important. And in truth, it's a chapter that a lot of writers really struggle with. So today I want to talk about a couple of things that we can do to make writing that second chapter a little bit easier. So first of all, let's talk about why the second chapter is so difficult. For many people, when they have the idea of writing a book, they start with a really great idea that comes to them while they're at work or watching a film, and then they're really eager to put that down on paper, and thus forms the first chapter. But then there's a real difficulty with continuing that story. The reason this is hard is because once you've got that snapshot of your fantastic idea, you then have to develop it. You have to develop your characters and the relationships and progress the story forward, and that can be quite daunting. There are thousands of people out there with lots of first chapters and no second chapters. Try and imagine it like a gym. Lots of people very eagerly join the gym at the beginning of January in the new year with this great idea of improving themselves. But come February, most people are unable to continue that progress forward. So a lot of people get a lot of apprehension when they come to their second chapter and are very unsure about how to proceed and carry that story forward. Following on from our first chapter video, the easiest thing to do is to just do it, to just continue writing that story forward. Now, I appreciate that that's easier said than done, but in the past we've talked about our two types of writers, architects and gardeners. For an architect, you should already have a plan in place, and it can be difficult to put that plan into action, but you have a structure there that you can work within to build onto that second chapter. And as for a gardener, there should be less worry and less concern about making a mistake and just trying to enjoy the process of carrying the story forward. Either way, what I found was best in my experience was writing my second chapter immediately after finishing the first chapter. This way, the story was fresh in my head and I was able to push through that fear and apprehension to just get the second chapter done. After that, writing the third and fourth and fifth actually became much easier. As for what to write and writing on those complex writing ideas, my advice to everybody would be to focus on the conflict. As we discussed before, the first chapter should be where we're either introducing or the inciting incident is happening. In the second chapter, instead of focusing on your characters, what I found really useful was to focus on the conflict. What has happened? And then try to imagine myself in that situation. How would I react to that? What would the reaction of the people around me be? What would the consequences of that conflict be? By focusing on the conflict, as William Faulkner has told us many times now, the story should develop out of that. And character development, relationship development should almost take care of themselves as long as we stay focused on that conflict for the second chapter. So that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for joining me and good luck with writing your second chapter. Just remember to try and stay focused on that conflict and try and let some of that apprehension go. Please consider liking, subscribing and sharing the video with your friends, and I'll see you all next week. Thank you very much.